The information discussed on Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for... Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin Money. Talkin Money. More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
Hey, good morning. Nick, sitting in the big chair today for Jeff Tarbell is Nick Perjanik. I only get to do this once every 4 years. You know why that is?
Why?
Well, Jeff was smart enough to get married on leap year. So he only has to celebrate his anniversary every 4 years. So he's very cheap with his money.
Jeff's brilliant.
He is. Jeff's actually up in North Star skiing with his beautiful wife, Kim, today. They're celebrating 20 years.
That's fantastic.
That is pretty cool. I celebrate my 20 years this coming June 20th with my beautiful wife, Ellen. But sitting in the big chair today is myself, Nick Perjanik. I am normally over in the small chair, so we call it the big chair here when I have the board in front of me and I have the computer screen to look at. In the studio with me today, proud to have Brad DeHaven. He is a LPL branch manager and financial consultant. How you doing this morning, Brad?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm stoked. Can you hear it in my voice? Pumped up a little bit?
Yeah,
ready to go?
You sound like you're about to jump out of your big chair.
Normally, I'm just sitting there on the other side, just kind of waiting for Jeff to screw up, and then I come in and make him sound good. So,
yeah. In
the other chair, we do have Troy Milburn. He's president of Certified ADA Consultants, Inc. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Good. You know, we are a financial show on a sports station. So sometimes when Jeff's not here, we like to kind of grab a couple different topics, things that maybe aren't, headline news in terms of what's going on in the stock market. Was at a Christmas party, and I met Troy and asked him what he did, and he started telling me about this business he was in. And I said, there's a financial aspect to that. Boom, topic for the show. Met Brad last week and handed me a book that I thought, okay, I'm going to be talking about drug addiction. And I thought, well, how's that a financial topic? Well, real quickly, I read the book and realized that it's something that, whether it's financially related or not, we need to talk about it. And it's an incredible book. We're going to kind of talk about it a little bit in the first hour, but we're really going to leave the whole second hour of the show to that book. So if you have teenagers or anybody that, if you've ever heard the word Oxycontin, you want to listen to the show. It's a great read. It's a great topic. What I did want to do is start off the show with a few articles here that I picked up. Troy, I got a question for you to start here. If you go hunting in Idaho and it's legal to hunt mountain lions in Idaho, what's a possible problem of advertising in California?
Well, I don't really know. What
idea.
Could there be?
Well, if you're Dan Richards and you're president of the California Fish and Game Commission and you shot a very large mountain lion on a guided tour, you may not want to have that picture posted in California's website.
Yeah, you may not want to make a code out of it either.
A code? Wear it to work. Let's see. On Wednesday, 39 Assembly Democrats signed a letter by Assemblyman Ben Hueso of San Diego calling on him to retire his post.
Unbelievable. So politics had something to do with this?
Well, even though it's legal to shoot mountain lions in Idaho, I guess, being the face of the Fish and Game Department is probably not where you want to have that up on the web there. Let's see. It's important to make it clear that there's no evidence Richards broke any laws. Mountain lion hunting is legal in Idaho, but it was banned in California with Proposition 117 back in 1990. So maybe not something you want to have posted, but he's kind of standing behind it. I mean, it's a legal thing to do. So here's another question I have for you, Brad. I'll ask you this: How do you get $850 back from AT&T? You have an AT&T phone by chance?
I do, as a matter of fact.
How do you get $850 back from AT&T?
Well, I think I know what you're talking about because I saw that in today's paper. I guess through small claims court would be the answer.
It is. This guy, it's hard to pronounce his name, Matt Sparkarelli, that makes sense, took the country's largest telecommunications company to small claims court, and he won. So here's the story kind of in a nutshell. He bought a plan. There's 17 million customers with this plan, but it's an unlimited data plan. And term I just heard today, but it's called throttling.
Right.
You were familiar with the term.
I am, and I also have their unlimited data plan. It's grandfathered in, but they don't offer it anymore.
Okay,
Right.
That's right. I actually had it cut down to a certain data plan to give my kids a phone. So
Right.
tough economy. Late last year, AT&T started slowing down data service for the top 5% of its smartphone subscribers with unlimited plans. So they were saying that basically if you used a certain amount of data beyond, I don't know if it was 1 gigabyte or what it was, they were going to start slowing it down. So you could still use the phone, you could still do text messaging, but any online videos or any of those type of applications were being affected.
So you were grandfathered in, but they were going to throttle it down anyways.
Right.
Right.
Well, and here's the problem. He argued, the attorney for AT&T argued that in court that the employer has a right to modify or cancel customers' contracts if their data usage adversely affects their network. So, there's kind of a stipulation in there. But last year, the Supreme Court upheld a clause in a Dallas-based company subscriber contract that prohibits customers from taking their complaints to class action or to court. So the question is going to be is does this open up a class action lawsuit since he won $850, or does it open the door for everybody that wants to take AT&T to court?
Well, I think it kind of reminds me of that Honda suit that went, not too long ago, where the lady, the ex-attorney, took Honda over the actual mileage that she was getting on her car and took them to small claims court and won. So I think it opens up Pandora's box for both of those large corporations that everybody's going to drag them into small claims court.
Right. Well, I think companies like AT&T are always aware of the potential for a large lawsuit, obviously. But I guess the question would be is, from a numbers point of view, are you better dealing with a large lawsuit or being called into court by every single person that wants to take you to court, or even arbitration for that fact? I mean, ultimately, it's going to cost them money. It depends on how many of those 17 million people sue them.
Right. There was a lot of talk about that after the Honda suit, is how many people would actually go to the trouble of bringing you to small claims court and all that. But I think if they share the information and the proof and so on and so forth, that they could face a lot of small lawsuits, and not only that, they're losing face with us just talking about it.
Right. Well, Troy?
Well, when I got my cell phone, I know for a fact that they told me you have an unlimited data plan, and but I think once it got to a certain limit, they throttled it down, and I'm like, okay, so it's still unlimited. However, it's just not as fast as it once was.
Was that AT&T or?
No, that was T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Okay, and kind of off topic, but I even got a bill from my home cable stating that based on my usage, I'd pay this much. But if I went over a certain usage now on my cable, I was going to start getting charged $5, I don't know, per 100 meg or whatever it was. So you're going to start seeing, the bandwidth and everything tighten up a little bit. So financially, we're all going to somehow they're going to start tightening up on us. So, hey, another article here, and just to be this morning, I saw. Have you guys heard about bulk sales of foreclosured properties?
I just read about it.
You did,
Yeah.
Here's something that. If you live in Detroit, say Detroit, Las Vegas, some of these economies that are just really being hit hard by foreclosures, it may be a good idea, but here's something to consider. The federal government's proposal to rapidly and dramatically reduce the supply of newly foreclosed homes by bulk selling them. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and FHA are holding on to thousands of these homes that they have to try to foreclose and then sell. So instead of working with local agents and keeping those sales local, they're looking at, and they're probably going to do this, start bulk selling large groups. And we're not talking about 5 or 10 homes at a time. We're talking about 500 homes. I mean, $5 to even $50 million worth of properties. Here's the problem. To selling them to Wall Street groups, to investor groups to come in and buy these homes. So it clears the records off FHA and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac books, right? It gets the foreclosures out there. But here's the problem. The requirement is that if this investor group comes in and purchases these 50 homes, they have to keep them as rentals for a certain amount of time.
What benefit is that? I mean, it seems like it's gone full circle. Now we're back to Wall Street making money off of the loans that they made money off of.
Well, I mean, if you
I
have
see another protest.
Well, if you have an entire subdivision sitting there in Las Vegas, right? 50 houses or condos that were built and nobody's buying them, and I could see selling that to an investor group. Now you got an investor group that has profit motive. They're going to try to sell them. They're going to actively participate. The problem is first of all, how does a small local community-based organization buy these things? If they're going to sell 50 homes at a time and the price is $50 million, or well, not 50 homes for $50 million, 500 homes for $50 million, you're taking the realtors out. You're taking the general knowledge of that local community out of the project. You're building in some big investor pool to come in and own it. And then again, they have to rent them. So let's just even say they have to rent them for a year or two. Is that really promoting, community growth or the community and helping it come out of this problem? Or is it just creating a lower priced rental that's now could do severe damage to the rental businesses? And is it just simply getting the numbers off of FHA, Fannie Mae, and Freddie Mac's books?
I think you hit the nail on the head with the last point, is that they're just simply trying to get the numbers off, because I can't imagine that benefits anybody but them to have that many rentals out there on the market.
Right. And I do think the other part of it too is the realtors. I don't think local realtors in any market. I mean, California in particular, where I believe that the homes are being sold, foreclosed homes, within 60 days. I've heard around 60 days. And you got realtors selling them, even though the price is, say, 5 to 6% lower, right? Because you have to pay the commission to the agents. The question is, what are those prices really going to sell for ultimately to that investor group? And then what would they turn around and sell them for, to the market? So are they going to end up selling them for less? And is that just going to, drag the price of every other home down in the market? I don't know. It's just, I read the article and I thought it's a good idea, but there's definitely, in California, I don't think it's going to fly.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things that if it happens, you're going to really see what the ramifications are. But until then, you can only kind of speculate what effect is this going to have on buyers, renters, et cetera.
Right.
Yeah, it would seem to me that that would kind of take that low-priced home kind of off the market for a local person to buy, maybe put their family into.
Right. Instead, forcing them to rent it.
Yeah, I mean, how could they compete with a bulk package and get that low rate?
Right. Well, and I guess the question is too, if you have an investor that's willing, and remember, it's going to go to high bid. So the thought is you're going to get different investor groups bidding on this, and I don't know whether it's 40 cents on the dollar, 50 cents, whatever it's going to be. How many groups have $50 million to buy, to buy property? There's a few out there. But they're going to have an equation of what that comes out to. So, hey, I want to bring up one other quick article here before our first break, and I'm going to ask Brad to give out a quiz question here for you. If you assume 300 million people in the United States, all right, let's just use that, even though it's around 310. Give me an idea. I'll ask you, Troy. Give me an idea of per head in America. What do you think the average cost or the average value is right now on student loans based on 300 million people in the United States?
Oh, geez.
How's that for a loop?
Yeah, I couldn't even venture a guess on that one.
Hey, this week, according to Business Week, outstanding student debt in the United States is approaching $1 trillion. That's $3,333 per head for a population of 300 million. I guess the question is, are we living beyond our means with student loans? Here's a bottom line: student debt has, for the first time in the U.S., surpassed credit card debt, with recent university graduates carrying on average, a load of over $25,000 per student.
Well, I hope my son's listening to this, because I was able to pay for his college, and so he should be very thankful.
Right. Brad, go ahead and give us the first quiz question here.
All right, I'm responsible for quiz question. The Dow Jones Industrial Average topped 13,000 this week for the first time since the financial crisis. If you can tell us what the low number it sank to, or what the date was that it sank to that number, then you are the winner of the first trivia.
Okay, so from the top of 13,000, dropped down, came back up to roughly 13,000. What was the lowest number during that period of time, or what month and year
exactly
did it hit that lowest point? Sitting in studio for Jeff Tarbell is Nick Perjanik. I got Troy Milburn and Brad DeHaven here. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.